Hello, everyone. My name's Cureton, Senior Journalist for XR Today, and welcome to another session for the XR Summit 2022. So we have on an excellent panel of guests today to speak about AR wearables. We have Mr. Vishal Shah, General Manager of XR and Metaverse at Lenovo. We also have Enzo, Chief Executive and Co-founder of Longan Vision. And we also have Sanjay, Jhawar, co-founder and chief strategy officer for RealWear. So I wanted to first start off by saying thank you so much for joining us today, guys. It's a pleasure to have you on today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with this panel.
So
thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll kick it off. We'll start today by asking some of the brief questions. Tell me a little bit about AR wearables. Now, can you share us some use cases for your technology platforms, and how have they empowered companies across industry verticals? How have they helped different industries to increase their abilities, their capabilities? Vishal, do you want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we are doing here at Lenovo is what we call the Enterprise Metaverse platform, Think Reality. It's a software SaaS-led platform that allows users the ability to configure their fleet of XR devices. It's completely cloud agnostic and hardware agnostic. We also, with Lenovo's with our expertise in the hardware space, we have both cutting edge AR and VR hardware, as well as a solution suite as well that we work on with our system integrators and our experts, right? So our goal is to create an end-to-end ecosystem for the enterprise metaverse that helps our customers scale into the AR using AR applications. And we've seen phenomenal applications that help remote workers help bring AI content in front of their eyes in a 3D format, in a true 3D 6DoF format, and hence really enhance productivity. Bringing down cycle times by 60%, bringing down error rates to almost 0%, reducing the need to travel to a remote location in order to fix something. So we're working with some major brands like Micron and Saint-Gobain to see these outcomes using AR technologies, especially in this environment where there's an acute labor shortage and we need to really upskill and reskill some of the mid-tier and new employees in a particular corporation.
Brilliant. Sanjay, on RealWear side, I wanted to ask you, what about your solution?
Yes, thank you very much. We focus on industrial users, particularly in medium to heavy industry. We make a product. Primary product is called a Navigator 500. It's what we call assisted reality. So it has just display on one eye. You can look over it. It's very robust and completely voice driven. And so it really lets you combine health and safety and situational awareness with XR, particularly what we like to call assisted reality, which really keeps the user primarily in the real world and provides a small display that's just the important information. And the kinds of use cases that this goes into, certainly the kind of verticals, we see a lot of take up in automotive field service, major car and truck companies like Ford, Volkswagen, BMW, many others, Renault trucks, oil and gas, where we also make a version of our products which is intrinsically safe. Intrinsically safe means that it's certified to not be capable of causing an explosion, even in a fault condition, which is required for oil refineries, gas plants, some pharmaceutical manufacturing areas, paint shops even in automotive. But the biggest usage is oil and gas, so we have major customers like Shell and Saudi Aramco and oilfield services companies like Schlumberger and others. And then the third major area that we see big take up is in consumer goods manufacturing. And this has a lot to do with machine maintenance, troubleshooting, remote troubleshooting with remote experts, and sometimes executing work instructions represented major customers in that field would include PepsiCo on a global basis in food manufacturing, and companies like Colgate-Palmolive and many, many others. So we really focus on the enterprise and all of the requirements that the enterprise needs from life cycle through to security, robustness, and the things that are necessary to really make an enterprise grade, industrial grade solution.
Brilliant answers. And Enzo, I would like to ask you the same question for
Sure.
Longan Vision. What kinds of use cases have you found to be?
And I'm Enzo from Longan Vision and from Canada. So our company actually developing the AR devices, especially for first responder and firefighters. And the main goal for our devices actually is to help the firefighters and first responders increasing their efficiencies and have the ability to do multiple tasking at the same time. So one major problem, especially for firefighters and even for first responders, actually they are trying to find a way to be able to see in the smoke and dark environment and able to using both hands to operating, for example, open the door or doing search and rescue in a room. So one thing they facing right now was the hand-free part and vision part. So our device is basically a smart visor that direct attached to the firefighter helmet. We also have a built-in infrared thermal cameras on the AR devices. With the thermal infrared cameras, we are able to help them to see through the smoke. And also because the system has been designed to be a hand-free device, so for first responder and firefighters, they could actually using axes to actually knock the door and or using both hands to carry the person out. And right now we are actually working with different parties and across US, Canada, Japan, and Thailand and Korea. So and also Europe. So kind of we spread out a little bit like globally because the similar problem we have solved for first responders, like no matter where you are, you couldn't see in the dark, the smoke environment, and also you have to do multitasking. And I think right now there's no current good solution, especially for first responder or firefighters. You may saw similar solutions for military, such as night vision system or like head-up display for night vision, but you haven't seen like too much devices, AR devices or head-up display devices for search and rescue or first responders. And the goal for ourselves again is ultimately to increase their efficiency and finally to save more life if possible.
Brilliant answers. So we also go into some of the things that we can consider when each person, each of your clients goes to you and says, I would like this device. We firstly have to distinguish between what is an enterprise device and a consumer device. So for your companies, what kind of considerations would you like to tell your clients when they decide to purchase from you? And what are some of the things that you offer enterprise solutions wise for your clients?
Yes, absolutely. So I think the return on investment that the customers are really looking for in the industrial space where we operate is the largest one is, I would say, the avoidance of downtime. So if you're in a manufacturing situation, let's take, for example, our customer Colgate-Palmolive, right, which we've been working with for many years. It's amazing how large the downtime issues can be in fast-moving consumer goods manufacturing. So here's just a representative example. There are many examples like this, but the latest toothpaste filling machines that they have at Colgate will fill 800 tubes of toothpaste per minute, which turns out to be 48,000 tubes of toothpaste per hour. The wholesale price for a cost of toothpaste is about $1. So that's $48,000 an hour of production. If that machine goes down because of some issue, you're losing $48,000 an hour of production. And if it takes 8 hours or 12 hours to get the vendor to put somebody on a plane to come fix it, then you may have lost $50,000 an hour quite easily. If you instead can call somebody in remotely on a head-mounted device so that they can use both hands and have a high quality camera feed, and the expert can stay back in their home office, can troubleshoot the issue. The Colgate technician can remediate the problem, and you can turn 12 hours, 24 hours of downtime into 30 minutes, 60 minutes of downtime at $48,000 an hour. And so, this is probably the number one use case, the one that customers go to first. You go beyond that into preventative maintenance, guided work instructions, regular inspections, and many other things, training that avoid the downtime in the first place by having better maintained machines, better experienced people. But the first and best ROI comes from downtime avoidance typically. And in all industries, I just picked Colgate, but you could pick any of our customers in industrial manufacturing or in field service.
And how about you, Vishal? I know Lenovo's Think Reality A3 is going very strong these days, and I wanted to know what kind of things that you would consider for that particular platform.
Yeah, just to elaborate on what Sanjay said, Sanjay really talked about the outcomes and the reduction in downtime and ROI very eloquently, and we're kind of aligned on those use cases as well with our customers. But also, I think one of the things we do consciously see in the enterprise space is the need for an end-to-end solution for our enterprise customers, right? Especially in a new technology like AR, VR, and as we scale the enterprise metaverse, our customers are looking for something that's scalable, that's flexible, that's secure, and that's enterprise grade, right? So something that when I say scalable and secure, it's got to be an open platform that they think that can evolve as their stack evolves, and there's no technology lock-in. So that's a very important part of the architecture that we offer and that enterprise AR vendors should offer going forward. The ability to have enterprise-grade hardware, Sanjay talked about the intrinsically safe hardware, some of the enterprise certifications that are needed, whether it's a hazardous situation or a light or heavy industry, making sure that we have that in place. A great example of that is when we designed our XR headset. We had some safety features on the VR headset. We had removable face pads so that they can be clean and be made more comfortable for longer periods of use. And on the AR, for example, we've got prescription lenses for our workers so that when they're using this augmented reality glasses, they have they have their regular vision that they can see the real world objects with. So those are the kind of considerations on the physical form factor side. And then last but not least, on the enterprise, any deployment on the enterprise sits at the intersection of IT and OT. So these are complex operations technology deployments as well. So bringing in some sort of a system integration and solution play for our enterprise partners tends to be very beneficial for the partner so that they can scale quite rapidly and deploy these enterprise solutions, firstly, in a particular factory or a POC or a lab, and then scale globally as needed.
Great answers for that as well. Enzo, I would like to take it over to you. Like for you, with Longan Vision, what kinds of things would you consider for your enterprise customers?
Of course, yeah. So for us, we are more selling to the government instead of enterprise because, again, device is built for first responder and the firefighters. So, and one thing we have learned in working with the interesting group, for example, federal or provincial government, is that sometimes we are looking for a complete package, a package solution or implementation plan. So we are not only looking for the headset itself, we're also looking for like an ecosystem surrounding the headset, including the network connection and live streaming functionalities. What's the service? How we, for example, if something broke, how we replace, and is there a service plan on that? And that's something actually we figure out we have to consider when we sell to municipal or federals or even Department of Defense. So that's some things before we are thinking about selling individual package like the unit, but again, after we figure out with all different parties and especially with Canadian government, we have to providing a complete package solutions with all the other features around it. And also regarding the other considerations, and so for our device, the major things we can provide to first responder and firefighters actually providing the enhancement of the vision. And as I speak in the last questions, one of the problems they are facing was they couldn't see in the dark. And with the device we have here, they can able to see in the dark and small environment. And the current solution we are using was a handheld devices, which is each time we have to hold the camera to see where we are going. And that's a major advantage we bring to the first responder and firefighters. And with these advantages, and we definitely increase their efficiencies. And just elaborate on Sanjay's point, which is downtime for us, it's more like how far they can find some people inside of the in the smoke building. And also another thing we have to point out is that because our device is very new to first responder and firefighter industry, and one thing we have learned is that we have also to offer a training package to them as well, and they have to basically train how to use the devices because it's kind of different from what we're using before, right? Which is you're holding a camera and looking around, and everything's mounted on their head. So there's actually a training person on our implementation package. We have to let them know how you work with hand-free devices, more like a night vision devices for them, like how they work with that. Yeah, I hope that answered the questions.
Yep, does very well. Does very well for that, definitely. So we want to go over to some of the other questions that I wanted to ask you guys. We wanted to speak a little bit about what it means to be human-centric. So we have human-centric devices that have very unique types of emerging technologies that they use to interface with the wearer and the user. So what are some of the ones that you incorporate with your particular platforms? Sanjay, would you like to kick that one off?
Yes, we do believe that there are all kinds of solutions needed for different enterprise usage and different verticals, different benefits, business benefits, and the key to all of them is that the users find the solutions easy to use, easy to interact with, and it doesn't become a barrier relative to the way that they were doing it before, whether that was using a clipboard, which still occurs a lot in oil and gas, or using a smartphone, which may not have the same safety profile because you have to hold it with two hands and look down. But it has to be easy to use. And so we do focus a lot on a broad ecosystem of best-in-class application software providers. And these applications have to be designed for the user interface of these devices. As we know in the XR world, there are different types of user interfaces, and I'm sure we'll hear from Enzo and Vishal about the way that they approach it. Very innovative. Our particular focus has been voice recognition, and it means that you say what you see. Essentially, the instructions are written on the screen, you just read them out, and it works in extremely loud environments, up to 100 decibels, which is super loud, and we can still recognize voice in 17, 18 languages reliably. And that's part of the human centricity. No wake-up word, no need to say Alexa to trigger the system, just talk, right? Talk specific commands. And some of the partners that are helping us do this, there are many. We have almost 200 software partners, but I think some of the most significant ones in terms of customer adoption have been leading workflow and remote assistance companies like that are built specifically for head-mounted devices and specifically for our devices, like TeamViewer, Frontline, Microsoft Teams, WebEx Expert on Demand from Cisco, Zoom, customized again for the head-mounted interface, Augmented, and a large number of others that you can easily find. The key is that these applications have been well integrated with the user interface for the hardware, and a lot of the pain points are things like the really kind of annoying but boring but important things like IT security and signing into your device management platform seamlessly. These things turn out to be surprisingly difficult to get right. It's taking us years, but it's been done, and that makes all the difference in making it human-centric and easy to use.
Thanks so much. Enzo, I'd like to go to you quickly for that one.
Sure, of course. Yeah, for us, actually, when we design device, especially for our device, human center is actually key point in our initial design. So when we talk about human center, especially first responder and firefighters, one thing we have to figure out was how our device can be compatible with their current device they have been used in their inventory or in their daily life, right? So one thing we are figuring out was how we put our system onto their existing helmet, firefighter helmet, and how we work with their SCBA air apparatus mask. So that's actually one of the things we try to really design the things, but that's one of the things we try to solve in the first places. And due to the special use cases for that, and also one thing you have to consider was the high temperature. For firefighters, they always operate in a high temperature environment. And that's actually eliminated a lot of display technologies on the market. For example, we could use waveguide, we could use freeform due to these things can be melted in a high temperature environment. So we have to, after doing all of those research, we have to using the off-axis holographic display technologies. It's traditional technology, but work well in high temperature environment because it's similar design, and also due to the eye box, because we have to project image actually in outside of the SCBA mask. We have to have a pretty big eye box to project image. So any of those like very close near eye display couldn't work for us. We have to using a pretty like large eye box display. That's again back to our original concept, is how we work with their existing equipment. Another thing we have to consider was how we operating these things in like emergency situations, right? Because for firefighters, time is essence. We have to. One thing we have to face was we wear a huge fireproof glove. We have to figure out a way to design the system to be actually interferences. To be actually, if we wear a thick glove, it can also change in different mode or turn the system on and off. That's another thing you have to consider. And the third consideration on human center part was how the weight distribution. And because we added additional weight to their helmet, one thing you have to consideration is how we balance the weight. Initially design, we have to think about the we have a separate CPU or batteries in the bodies, and just a display and camera in the front. But we figure out that the front of the system will be extremely heavy, and the thing will cause some napping in that part. So after going through the several iterations with fire departments and around the world, we kind of try to put our CPU and battery in the back as well to actually balancing the front and the rear weight. So current design a little bit back heavy. So actually the system can be a little bit tilted in the front. So basically kind of try to have the center of gravity like in the real center of the helmet to balancing the front and back weight. So that's actually like for us, human center, I would say is actually we have to major focus on that, because instead of for industrial applications and the firefighter wear all this thing moving around and actually penetrate wall or something. So our device kind of has to be in a lot of action. So that's another thing we have to consider. Considerations was how the device performs in a high stress, high temperature environment, and also easy to use with your current existing equipment.
Great. And last but not least, Vishal, what would you like to say about that?
Yeah, thank you, Demon, for that great question. For us at Lenovo and Think Reality, being human centric is our North Star. in terms of what we try to achieve, right? For any solution, we feel that the hardware, the software, the technology should almost fade into the background, and it should be all about the consumer that's going to use that particular solution and make it more seamless for them to deliver the outcome. One of the ways we do that is like by really focusing on a very human-centric UI. So from the time you put on these A3 smart glasses or even our XR glasses, we make sure that the visual effect that you get is pretty immersive. It's easy to like select the different options that you want to navigate to get into a particular menu or a particular application. In the case of VR applications, we can provide a single pane of window so that every time a worker is in a particular area or in front of a particular machine, we can actually kind of exactly highlight where he or she needs to be focused on. So in that way, kind of bringing in a blend of AI and AR together is something that we do to make our technology more human-centric. The other key element of what we do is in our software stack, right? I know we talked about a lot of our ecosystem players, but what the Think Reality does is also provide a cloud portal that helps companies manage their entire fleet of devices. That helps them keep their devices up to date. That gives them telemetry data on the state of devices, and also deploy content and applications on a as-needed basis, and even serve through AI in front of these workers in a pure 3D format. So we feel that is also a great way to kind of reduce errors, make your entire fleet more consistent, and make it more effective from a overall IT and deployment perspective as well.
And I do really appreciate all your insights on this. I think we do have to wrap it up today, but thanks so much again for coming on and joining the XR Summit. We'd also like to thank Mr. Vishal Shah, General Manager of XR and Metaverse at Lenovo, Enzo, Jhawar, Chief Executive and Co-founder of Longan Vision, and Sanjay, Jhawar, Co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer for RealWear. Thanks again, everyone, guys. I really do appreciate your time and expertise.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Excellent.
Pleasure.
And don't forget to continue to watch all the rest of the sessions for the XR Summit. If you'd like to also, please follow the XR Summit on the big XR Update hashtag for social media. And my name, once again, is Cureton. I'm senior journalist and senior journalist for XR Today. Thank you so much for joining us and have yourselves an excellent day. Bye now.